Good afternoon. Welcome to today's Academic Advisor Forum, a reintroduction to the Graduate College, what we do and how we can help. My name is Ross Hawkins. I am the director of the Academic Advising and Transfer Center. Today's Academic Advisor Forum will be recorded. So if you know of others in your areas who were unable to attend, please let them know that they can visit the Mo State Advising YouTube channel within the next 1 to 2 weeks to watch the recording of this advisor forum, as well as receive credit for the Master Advisor program. If you have not yet entered your name and your department in the chat feature and you do wish to receive Master Advisor credit, please feel free to do so. Before we get started, just a couple quick announcements. First, beginning on November 1st, the nominations for Excellence in Advising Awards will open. Students will be notified of this through the announcements feature in My Missouri State. It will also be in Inside Missouri State on Tuesday, November 4th. Please know that if you have a colleague in your area that you would like to nominate, you are welcome to do that. A majority of our nominations do come from students, which we love, but we also accept nominations from colleagues as well as self-nominations. So again, the Excellence in Advising Award nomination opens November 1st and will close on November 30th. This includes 3 advising awards, one for an undergraduate professional staff advisor, an undergraduate faculty advisor, and then a graduate advisor. So please feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions about the undergraduate awards. If you have a question about the graduate award, please reach out to Dr. Carissa Holscher. Um, After today's advisor forum, we will take a break in the month of November with advisor forums because I know that we are all going to be very busy meeting with our students and providing releases to register, as well as guidance and support. We will come back together for our 2 final advisor forums in December. December 1st, Monday, there will be a Zoom advisor forum from 12 to 1. The Counseling Center, overview of services for students and other campus supports. And then our final advisor forum for the fall semester will be a seated advisor forum on Thursday, December 4th from 12 to 1 in Plaster Student Union Room 313. And that session is on connection through creativity, harnessing the power of expression. Again, on behalf of the AATC, I want to thank Dr. Holscher for the partnership that we have with the Graduate College, with the Master Advisor Program and our Excellence in Advising Awards. Each semester, we are dedicated to providing an academic advisor forum on a graduate topic. And so today, the reintroduction to the Graduate College is our planned session for the fall semester. I will now turn it over to Carissa.
Thank you so much, Ross. And I have to echo your comments. I'm so grateful for our partnership. I think that we have done a lot of great work on campus to elevate the importance of graduate advising as well as good undergraduate advising. Thrilled to be with you all here today. I will share my screen as we dive in. Make sure I share the right screen. Can you give me a thumbs up if you can see my slides? Thank you. All right. So as Ross said, I am here to walk you through a little bit more about what the Graduate College does, who we are, and how we can help. And I'm also excited to introduce to all of you my new boss, our new dean of the Graduate College, Johannes Strobel. Because I come from a communication background and I see some fellow public speaking aficionados on the call, you know that I must first tell you what I'm going to tell you, right? So here is our agenda for today. We're going to, of course, do some introductions with Dean Strobel, and he's going to cover some of these big picture topics that I think are really important to our campus right now. And then he'll turn it back over to me, and I will dig into the specifics of what we do and how we can help across a wide variety of areas that you might not have thought about before in terms of what the graduate college does. I think our goal today is that everybody on the call leaves with at least one new piece of knowledge that you didn't know about us and our work prior to today's session. So please interrupt us if you have questions. We'll try to keep an eye on the chat feature. But we are just thrilled to be here, and we are so grateful that all of you are here with us as well. With that, I'm going to turn it over to Dean Johannes Strobel for him to introduce himself and share a few of these big picture topics with you.
Hello, everybody. Nice to have me here. I'm glad you invited me and invited the graduate college, and I really appreciate all the conversations and problem solving over the years that I heard the advisors have done with us and we have done with the entire advisor community on campus. So I'm happy to join and talk a little bit about graduate college. Before that, I'm gonna introduce myself a little bit. Um, I'm a person you might want to consider as one of your problem childs. I have been a student who changed 4 times my undergrad major. I grew up in the country of Germany. Our education system is free, so I could have not afforded that at any other country environment. But I navigated my curiosity and my interest drove me to many different undergrad areas. I was then also fortunate to be a study abroad student, so another one of these categories of students who need extra support and extra help. Arrived actually in 2000 in the wonderful state of Missouri, where I switched then my PhD program from Germany into the University of Missouri. I know that's the other school we don't talk about. Um, and after a career in academia and in industry, I joined you all from UTEP, University of Texas at El Paso, which has an interesting story about a regional university, but the only R1 research intensive university of the United States that is state open access. It made a deliberate decision just because we're going for research intensive and in research excellence. That does not mean we are turning any student away. We will educate everybody who comes through our door and wants to come with a GED. I find that very sympathetic, and I see a lot of similarities actually between UTEP and Missouri State University. My education was shaped by my grandmother, who stopped her education when she turned 12 to work in a kitchen and as a cook for the rest of her career. She valued education to the point that she always communicated that education is what she most missed of not having had more. And I remember her highlight. It tells you a different time and age where she and place where she came from. She was born in 1900, right on the dot in that year. And at that time, she lived in the Kingdom of Bavaria. And she remembers the Prince Regent Luitpold came into her classroom, and she was the only one who got a pencil for best performance in school. I tell you that story because I heard it about 100 times what good education and putting in your back into education will bring you. That's something I really inherited from a woman who barely could read and write and do any of this stuff that I'm now privileged to do and many of our students learning here to do. But she instilled that really into us. My path was not linear. My path was very winded, and I'm still winding through my life journey as a learner and a professional. And I hope that will not change. And I appreciated all of the advice and advisors I had in my years. And I had a bunch of them, as you can imagine, in all the different journeys I took. So let me ask Carissa to advance to the next slide. I want to give a couple of different overview, bigger things of because we are a graduate college, right? There are other colleges on campus. Yet, as you can imagine, we are a bit of an oddball out. the graduate college, while being grad college, we are not a college in the traditional sense. So if you think of us as, we're not teachers, we don't have much direct instruction in our college, we don't have faculty in our college. Versus academic units, other colleges and departments, they have their own courses, they have faculty and instructors. We're not owning programs, but we're supporting 310 graduate programs on campus. 3 of them we own ourselves. We manage our interdisciplinary, graduate interdisciplinary, our Master of Professional Studies, and our certificate, while other academic units own and direct programs and do, of course, already, or particularly in the graduate space, a lot of faculty advisement. A lot of students who have questions about programmatic things go usually to their faculty. Graduate students usually have an faculty as advisor on some level. We're being involved in when it comes to incubating new ideas and testing new programs, while that is probably very similar to academic units who are also innovating curriculum and implementing more on the curriculum side once it gets approved. We are working very heavily on recruitment campaigns. We have a centralized admission process where a lot of academic units also have their own academic criteria and admission, but we are running that process for students. Once they show interest, they deal with a lot of us here in the graduate college. We're dealing also with their transcripts. Whatever happened before in their world still counts in their world if they come to other places. We have a role of quality assurance. We are ensuring academic rigor of all programs. We're working there very closely when each individual program have, of course, their own concerns and their own quality assurance in rigor of their own programs. And then student advocacy, probably something you notice. We are champion of student success for all graduate students. We are the body on campus that pushes for student success issues for graduate students, with supporting and enlisting a lot of people who do different work in that area. None of this happens in a vacuum. And so I would like, Carissa, if you could move on to the next slide, a little bit about what advising might look like for graduate student versus undergraduate advising. When we look at recruitment, a university like Missouri State is doing broad outreach, right? We have very distinct groups of either high school graduates, people who come back after a couple of years in doing work. We're having dual credit. We have transfer students coming from other institutions or move up from community colleges. In graduate recruitment, we are much more targeted and program specific, meaning I mentioned before we have 313 programs. We are not recruiting, come to Missouri State, and once you're here, figure out what you want to do. This is really like people come here for very specific programming, very specific study fields. It's very program specific. What can I do? What do you offer me when I study this particular field with you? The student profile, we know all. We have traditional age students in undergrad. Non-traditional students is its own category that is really exploding in all the different flavors, what that could mean. We really never had really what we consider a traditional student in graduate college. If you think about it, we don't have common profiles. A lot of them come with work experience. Some come with international experience. We have some who I would consider and call career students, right? The one who finish high school, get an undergrad, get a grad degree, do something else, right? These would be more career students as probably one profile area, but there is not a common profile. We also cannot just recruit from one particular area or target a particular spot. It's very specific target areas we're working with. If you think about the program commitment, in undergrad, you deal with a lot of undeclared major changes, transfer in and out, a lot of stop out and drop out, and there is so much complexity in that space. And while we don't have necessarily the same complexity in graduate college, in graduate program commitment, Usually students come here to study, and it is rarer to see program changes, right? We don't see a person who says, "Oh, I come here and I start my master in fine arts, and now I become an accountant and switch to master of accountancy," right? We might see that in undergraduate advising a lot more. With our student support focus, there's a lot about advising needs towards exploratory, developmental, career focused, of course. But so much of undergrad students try to find themselves through their study and what they do and what they experience. My own case in example, I shifted so many majors because I didn't know where I wanted to land and what was actually a good fit. It's much more specialized and career focused when it comes to graduate advising. Our support has to be, there's a lot of general guidance. It sometimes feels to me undergraduate advising is life coaching. I mean, to many, many degrees, and and all the complexities of life coaching that it involves, right? Prerequisites. How do you fit in that you don't take the right classes, that you're not falling behind, that you're not suddenly realizing I should have taken a class in this semester and now I can't graduate in this particular year. All of these things, very complex things in undergraduate advising. Graduate advising, while similar, shifts a little bit more towards research, thesis, professional development. Their curriculum is usually more prescribed. There is less flexibility, less prerequisite because they're also shorter programs. We're talking about curriculum differences, right? In undergrad, you start with more in a general ed and then add major specific, where graduate education is more course specific and program specific. And you have some electives that gives you some flexibility, but very few. We see graduate students less on campus, right? Particularly with not having many doctorate programs with residential full-time doctorate students, we don't see doctoral students, graduate students here for 4+ years. Undergrads, in previous institutions, we had even terms for that. I remember in one institution, there was a whole classification in our system called the super duper senior, who, is the one that just doesn't seem to be finishing out at the end and adds another half year to their studies. This is rarer in graduate college. There could be, of course, things happening to them, and they might not finish in the 2 years, or maybe hanging on another semester. But it's usually more streamlined, less on less elements that move things forward or stop moving things forward. And then in financial needs, all of that about financial aid and Pell Grants and scholarships and all the different classes of support for. We're dealing in graduate advising a lot about assistantships, and the level of scholarships is less available for students. But a lot of our students, we have about 592 on campus who actually have assistantships, meaning they have a 20-hour work requirement on campus while they're actually being a full-time student with us. There are differences in that regard as well. If you can move on to the next slide. This is primarily a teaser slide. There's a lot of flux. We got our change of legal status. We are now allowed to offer research doctorates. That is pretty much the only thing that stopped us from becoming an R2. If we would have had research doctorates 10 years ago, 5 years ago, we would be right now an R2 institution in the Carnegie classification, meaning we would be the second highest level of research intensive in the country. Because we cannot graduate research doctorates to the requirement to meet that standard, we are below R2. But every other indicator we have, we are in R2, meaning our PhD program, research doctorate programs, this will take quite a bit of planning now. I know it took years to get the law changed. It's taking a similar planning effort to make these doctorate rights. And as you can imagine already, PhD programs with students staying here for between 5 and 9 years to getting PhDs, that has also an entire new level of advising needs when it comes to that. And we would love to work with you all on what that means when it comes to the point that we're actually starting them. So stay tuned. There will be programming on campus. We're having a couple. We were part of the um, implementation strategic planning steering committee, provided us with funding to do now in this first year some planning around research PhDs and research doctorates. We will definitely have at least one session on just what does actually doctoral advising mean, and would love to invite all of you for the learn and share session, because I think from what you all experience with other levels of students and PhD students is certainly something that can contribute to the discussion, because it's not just unique needs, but there are other needs that might be more amplified. I'll hand it now back to Carissa for her portion of the presentation.
You've got one more thing you wanted to talk about.
Oh, correct. Thank you, Carissa. I wanted to mention we have on campus, you might have seen us advertising as pushing several different programs, jumping into that of accelerated pathways into graduate level education. What that means is, and this is a visual to kind of indicate that this is something where we help students finishing out their undergrad and already earning credits toward a graduate degree program here at Missouri State, meaning that the 12 hours that fulfill their final credit hours for undergrad are already the first hours fulfilling requirements for a master degree. So in an effect, this is an accelerated pathway. That's why we call it acceleration. It's not accelerating their finishing out their undergrad degree. It is an acceleration for combining undergrad finishing out credits with incoming master credits to accelerate their graduate level programming and their graduate level finish out and graduating. Meaning a student can really shorten, if we think about a 33 credit hour master program and 12 of them are already done while they are still an undergraduate student, classified as undergraduate student, you can imagine how faster they go through their master program. I mention that because this is something we will be much more leaning into, and absolutely as a college, as a graduate college, we would love to accelerate the uptake on accelerated pathways. So think about it as A squared, acceleration, accelerated acceleration. So please help us spread the word. If you have any specific questions on that for advising purposes or other things, we're more than happy to talk with you. I know a lot of you advise already students very successfully towards accelerated programming. So happy to connect you also with programs that we know do that very well and have done that for a while now. So just as I find it an interesting programming element that we have. So now, for real, I'm turning it over to Carissa.
Thank you, Johannes. And yes, I could not agree more. I know we have a lot of undergraduate advisors on the call, and we see you as our biggest partners in helping us to recruit fantastic undergraduate students to join our accelerated programs. All right, I'm going to dig into what all we do here at the Graduate College and how we can help. In a couple of our areas, I'm going to give you ideas for how you could maybe proactively reach out to us and work with us to help, so we can help you solve some of the problems you might be experiencing in your day-to-day life. Again, I'm going to cover a lot of material here, but please make this as useful to you as possible. Feel free to pop questions in the chat or stop me. Hopefully we'll have time at the end to maybe field a couple of your questions as well. So the first thing I want to do is just introduce you to our team. And Ross, I'm going to test this out. I did create a link that is hopefully shareable from everyone if you're logged into your Missouri State account. So if you could test that PDF I just put into chat, that'd be great. If not, we'll make sure you get it via email later. But this is we consider this our contact directory that might be useful for all of you to save to your own files. We'll get it posted on our website as well, but it gives you a little more detail behind the names that you see on my PowerPoint screen here. Ross, did the document work?
Yes, you do have to log in though.
Okay,
So I had to
okay,
do like the
perfect.
multi-factor authentication, everything. But once I
Okay.
completed that, I was able to pull it up.
Success, yay. All right.
Yay.
So we consider ourselves as three sort of sub teams working as one big team together. And so here in the Graduate College, we have graduate program and student support, graduate admissions and records, and then our academic unit, graduate interdisciplinary programs, which Johannes referred to just a little bit. So in terms of program and student support, you can see our team members listed here. I like to think that we sort of bookend a graduate student's experience here on campus. And so, of course, when a graduate student applies to a program, they're going to be interacting with our admissions team, but they're also interacting with our program and student support team to finish out their degree. And so you can see the folks listed here, and the document I put in chat will give you a little bit more information about what each of us do and what we oversee. Our graduate admissions team, we also say and records because I think a lot of people on campus don't realize that our graduate admissions team acts somewhat like a miniature registrar. They're working very closely with the registrar, but this is the team that is building out the student profile and banner. And so they are intimately involved in student records, not just processing applications. And then graduate interdisciplinary programs. I know Warren is on the call here. I have a slide later on to share a little bit more about GIP with all of you. I think that's another one of our sort of best kept secrets here in the grad college that we would love to spread the word out about a little more. All right, so one of the first things that we do, of course, is market and recruit for all of our graduate programs here on campus. I think I see Madison Jordan on the call as well. Madison is our Director of Marketing, Communications, and External Relations, and she and her team do a fantastic job marketing for those 300 plus programs. And so she oversees our CRM, our Customer Relations Management Software, which is EMP. EMP used to stand for Enrollment Management Platform, but now the company tells us it doesn't stand for anything anymore. So do with that what you will. But through the CRM, we have email and text campaigns that are focused on these four areas. So a student can inquire about a program with us, and when they do so, that puts them into a drip campaign that gives them program-specific information. And so, yes, Maddie and her team have built out 300 plus communication messaging campaigns that are program specific. And then, of course, once a student starts an application, we encourage them to continue that application and submit it. And then we also have campaigns built out for those who have just submitted and are waiting on a decision, and then newly admitted students as well. And we separate our newly admitted campaigns out by domestic and international students because, as you know, those are two different groups that have to do a variety of different things to actually get enrolled in their courses on campus. Madison's team also handles inquiry responses that come directly to them from prospective students. And so I know we have several graduate program directors on the call. You have probably experienced this. Oftentimes, prospective students come straight to us, and we field whatever questions we can for you, but oftentimes they need program-specific information, so we send those prospective students straight to you. We work on specialized campaigns with both external vendors and our strategic communications team here on campus. And we have done so to highlight certain programs over the years. And so if that's something that is of interest to you, you can certainly reach out to Madison and her team. We also have stepped up our social media game in recent years. We're working hard to promote your students and what they're doing, as well as a variety of campus resources and spotlights of our alumni and things like that. We also do campus tours and provide swag and giveaways. And so for those of you who work with graduate programs, if you have prospective students coming to campus, please reach out to our team because we can give a graduate-specific campus tour. The undergraduate team does a fantastic job. They also have really cool golf carts that we occasionally try to borrow. But we can also do graduate-specific stuff, highlight your program, highlight your building, and we are happy to partner with you on that. In terms of our CRM, I wanted to show you the power that we have behind some of our digital campaigns. So anytime a prospective student inquires about a program through our request for more information online, they get what is called a personalized URL, a Pearl page. And this is a website that they can access at any time that is personalized to them and to the program that they are interested in. And so I just took this screen grab from my test account here so you could see that it is calling me out by name and that I have indicated interest in our EDD program. And so right now, the system knows that I have not started an application. And so my Pearl page is encouraging me to apply now. Once I start my application, my Pearl page will encourage me to finish the application, submit it. And so it progresses through the phases that our interested students progress through as well. This Pearl page also provides information about other things that students might need access to. So there's a tab for international students up here at the top. There's a tab for cost and the value of graduate degrees. You can request a campus tour, and you can also tell us that you are interested in some of these other areas over here. Of course, I've selected resources for pets because if you've known me for more than 5 minutes, you know that my 2 dogs are very important to me. And so when you select resources for pets, for example, and hit go, then you have a tab added to your menu up here that tells you how to access vets here in town, maybe some doggy daycares, and there's lots of cute pictures of dogs too. And so our marketing team has done a phenomenal job building this out with, again, program-specific information and strong messaging to encourage the students to do what we want them to do. If you'd like to reach out to our marketing team, here's how we can help. I see a question. For students who are applying to grad school using a CAS system, do they also get a Pearl page? Great question, Rebecca. Thank you. Any student who completes our request for information form, so they are an inquiry to us, gets that Pearl page. And then any student who has started an application in GradCAS gets that Pearl page as well. I know Madison and her team are working on building out the specialty CASs too. Madison, if you can unmute and clarify anything I'm saying, I would love that. But I'm pretty sure right now it's just the nursing CAS that we have built out. Is that accurate?
Yes, that is accurate.
So more to come on this, but right now, the vast majority of our programs are applying through GradCAS, and starting an application does get them access to a Pearl page. So great question. Thank you. If you'd like to reach out to our marketing team, here are some things they can do to help your program. We can schedule a focus group with your current students so that you can get a better idea of what their recruitment and admission experience was like, and perhaps strengthen that experience over time. We can review your program website from a student's perspective and give you that insight about best practices for web traffic, and maybe give you suggestions on how to clarify your language so that your prospective students are getting their questions answered more readily. We can promote your stuff on our social media. So if you have unique programming events, you have students who are doing really cool things that you want us to spotlight, maybe you're doing a recruitment event, we will promote any of that for you happily on our social media. So please reach out to us when you have those things to share. And as I've already mentioned, we can provide those graduate-specific campus tours and swag for prospective students. For faculty on the call, if you find yourself attending a conference and you know that you might have the opportunity to talk to prospective graduate students at that conference, we would love to send you with some of our swag so that you can pass that out to folks as you talk. And then occasionally we will attend programs recruitment events, either to help with part of the event or just be there as another presence to encourage people to consider Missouri State for their graduate education. So I think these are the kinds of things that maybe not everybody thinks about right away when you think of the graduate college, but I would love for you to think through how could you connect with us and specifically our marketing team to maybe lighten your load a little bit in terms of recruiting for your program. Okay, so next up, once we have recruited somebody to actually apply, that student is going to be interacting with our graduate admissions team. And as I mentioned before, they do a whole lot more than just simply looking at those applications. I think a little known fact is our graduate admissions team configures every single application that's in our GradCast system. And of course, configures the applications that live on our grads dashboard. So those are those unique applications for our accelerated students who are maybe switching a program or returning to a program after a pretty long absence. And so there are a variety of applications that our admissions team manages, oversees, and handles. They are also often that first line of defense, that first stop for prospective students. So our graduate admissions team offers that front-end prospective students guidance, and sometimes that even carries through all the way to how to register for classes. They, of course, do process the applications. And this is including those specialty classes, and so they build out those student records in Banner. The graduate admissions team, their job is to verify graduate college eligibility, and your job as a program director is to verify program eligibility. They evaluate transcripts. This is particularly important for many of our international applicants. We do review applicants who have indicated some sort of disciplinary history. We have a detailed process for that, so we can document that in our behavioral intervention team system. We handle the advisor assignments in terms of those Banner assignments and process deferrals as well. Our graduate admissions team also works quite a lot with our graduate program directors to provide them with training on how to process all of their applications. And then, as I've mentioned before, they process those Banner records as well. Here are some things that I think our admissions team can do if you'd like to reach out to them for more help. We often get a lot of questions on how a program might clarify their admissions requirements and processes to make the application experience simpler or more easily understandable from an applicant's perspective. You should also reach out to this team if for any reason you need to open an application in the middle of a cycle. If you need to close an application early, let's say, for example, your pool of students, you have already reached your student cap and you need to make sure that you're not accepting more applications, you can reach out to that team for that. And then there are also occasionally times where we pause applications for certain programs, again, within a cycle, so you can reach out to admissions for that. Admissions, I think, has, again, a really strong pulse on how prospective students find us and how they experience the application process. So they are a good team to help you identify potential bottleneck issues in your program processes. And again, they will often be the facilitator of communication between you and a prospective student. If you find yourself often getting questions from students on how do I apply, like literally what's the step-by-step process, our admissions team can provide step-by-step tutorials that they've already built out, so you can reach out to them with that. And then our team also attends open houses, particularly for accelerated applicants. So I know College of Business and College of Ed both hold open houses to recruit undergraduate students to their accelerated master's degrees. We would love to see other academic colleges doing that as well. So here's your hint, hint, wink, wink, nod, nod. If you are in another college and would like to do that, please reach out to us and we'll provide you with some human power to help make that open house go. Any questions about admissions? I'm going to dig into program support. So program support is kind of a whole conglomeration of things that we offer and provide after a student has been admitted and is enrolled in one of your graduate programs. So Christy Graham is on the call. I'm sure most of you on the call know her. She is our curriculum and graduation specialist, and so she actually configures the graduate programs in DegreeWorks so that your degree audits are accurate. Every year she processes any catalog updates, so all of the curricular proposals that went through in a given year are updated in DegreeWorks by Christy. She's also the one that can help you with degree audit exceptions if you are an advisor and need assistance with making those exceptions in those student-specific degree audits. She can either do it for you, walk you through it, help train you. She does it all. So reach out to Christy for anything DegreeWorks or degree audit related. Christy is also responsible for all of these policies, processes, and forms you see listed here. These are the processes that come up the most often. So students who are completing comprehensive exams or seminar papers rather than thesis. And then we do have a policy that says all courses must be completed within 8 years, but we allow a path to exception for that policy. Christy processes those. Christy applies transfer credit if you have a graduate student transferring in credit from another institution. That doesn't happen nearly as often at the graduate level as it does at the undergraduate level, but we do allow it. And a key thing there is that they must provide us with an official transcript from the institution that they are attempting to transfer that credit in. As we add more doctorates, I think that could be a thing that we see increase over time. Students may be transferring in with faculty members, and we will potentially see an increase in that transfer credit. The graduate college also oversees our thesis and dissertation approval process. I like to remind folks that the research approvals happen within the program themselves. So the program is responsible for the content, for determining whether a particular project had enough rigor or not. And then our role in this process is to make sure that the document meets a standard and a quality to be publishable in our institutional repository, BearWorks. We clear all of our graduate students for graduation. We oversee graduate faculty status applications and approvals. And then I think another thing that we don't often think about in terms of the graduate college, but we are a partner, a thinking partner for you in curriculum innovation and program design. So if you find that your program is beginning to feel a little stale, or perhaps there have been advancements in the field and the program needs to be updated, we would love to collaborate with you and consult with you on what that might look like going forward. Some ways that our team can help you when it comes to program support. As I've already mentioned, you can absolutely reach out to us. Christy can provide that program-specific degree audit training. Graduate programs into the degree audit look vastly different from program to program, and it still amazes me how Christy can keep them all straight, but she does. She's fantastic at her job, and she can provide that program-specific assistance. I'd strongly recommend that if you are a faculty member who is brand new to the thesis and dissertation advising game, that you join our thesis and dissertation Brightspace community. And then please reach out to us if you'd like us to walk you through what our approval looks like if you are a new advisor for that research. We'd also love to consult with you on ways to streamline your program processes. For example, a few years back, we had a large number of programs who were submitting comprehensive exam forms and seminar report forms to us so that we could process them, get them updated in degree audits. And there was a disconnect between that form and the fact that that work was actually already connected to a course in your graduate program. And so what we did is we worked with programs to streamline that process. So once a grade was assigned in the system for that course, the form became obsolete and unnecessary. And so it really cut down on the number of processes that you all were having to do. So we would love to just talk through with you ways that we could maybe make those kinds of processes better and more efficient in your day-to-day life. We also would love to consult with you on any ideas you have about new graduate programming or, again, potential changes to your graduate programs. This can include market analysis, which I think is not something that always comes to the forefront of faculty who are pitching new curricular processes, and also discussing the employability of graduates. This is a key feature of our strategic plan, connecting our academic programs to career readiness and those career outcomes. We would love to help you think through what that might look like in your area. And then you might have some data needs that are specific to your program, so you can always reach out to us to request. For example, I've got a request in my inbox right now saying, how many of my accelerated students graduate on time? And so we can pull data for your program like that might help you with other initiatives. We also do quite a bit of things in our office where we are interacting directly with students. And so, as you know, Dean Strobel mentioned this as well. We do have graduate assistantships here on campus. And our office, Philip Raleigh, in our office processes all GA appointments. This includes verifying eligibility, which can be very tricky sometimes. It also includes processing those stipends and tuition fee waivers that get applied to students' accounts. And so we work with the hiring units, of course, but we also field a lot of questions straight from students about their eligibility or their TFWs. We also partner with Graduate Student Senate. Madison Jordan, who's on the call, is the advisor for Graduate Student Senate. I suspect that you will hear more and more from this student group as they have become much more active, even just this year. And so we're excited about that potential to increase over time. Students occasionally do come to us for those degree audit exceptions, and we of course work with the programs as needed. We are the ones who apply their transfer credit when that's required. For undergraduate students who have been accepted into an accelerated graduate program, we process their mixed credit forms. Just as a reminder, this is new in the last year or so. If you have undergraduate students taking other graduate credit, such as senior permission or mixed credit not attached to an accelerated program, those forms now go straight to the Office of the Registrar. But we continue to process and approve mixed credit forms for accelerated programs. We help a student convert from a thesis to a non-thesis option or vice versa. We again interact with students regularly over the thesis and dissertation process. We also provide access to our career preparation platform called Beyond Graduate School. We've been partnering with the Career Center to promote that a little bit more, but this is an online platform that any of our graduate students can access at any time, provides them access to webinars, to workshops, to all kinds of guidance on how to leverage a graduate degree to get a job. As you know, to leverage that graduate degree looks different than to leverage a bachelor's degree. And so it's a graduate specific career prep platform. And then of course, we also do field student complaints and concerns. Oftentimes we are that last stop for students after they have talked with their at-home academic program. And so we see ourselves as campus collaborators in that way to address those student concerns. And then we have a program persistence policy that can, in some cases, lead to program dismissal for poor academic performance. When that happens, students have the ability to request an appeal of their dismissal, and our office hosts those appeal hearings in conjunction with the program. In terms of research support, and this is an area where you are likely to see more and more come from the graduate college as we work as a university to enhance our research profile. We do a couple of things for programs and faculty and a couple of things specifically for students. On the faculty and program side of things, our office administers faculty research grants and summer faculty fellowships. And so you can find information about those programs specifically for faculty on our website. We have a deadline for the next summer faculty fellowship coming up on October 30th. And then you'll be hearing more about this from our office, but coming in summer 26, we will be providing summer graduate research assistantships directly to programs. So again, this is in an effort to enhance our research profile as a university. So these are things that directly benefit faculty and programs. For students, graduate students can apply for thesis and non-thesis research support. We just recently added a third deadline, so we are awarding these funds 3 times a year now. And so we always encourage students and advisors to think about when is the appropriate deadline according to their sort of research cycle. But remember that students must have their research compliance in place, whether that's IRB approval, IACUC approval, whatever that is. These are competitive application processes, but for the last few years, we have been able to award the vast majority of the applicants. So please encourage your students to continue applying for these funds so that we can help support the graduate student research. We also do offer travel support to graduate students. The key here is that they must be presenting their research that they conducted while at Missouri State. And I know that $300 is not much money, won't even cover a plane ticket in many cases, but our hope is that we can grow this over time. And also we strongly encourage students to pair this funding with other funding sources available to them, whether that's through their academic program, their home college, other resources like that. As you all know, every little bit helps, and so please help us spread the word about that support. And then in terms of elevating graduate student research, you'll see this again under our events slide, but we do host that interdisciplinary forum every spring. I wanted to spend a little bit of time talking with you about GIP, Graduate Interdisciplinary Programs. This is, again, I think one of those things that perhaps isn't as well known across campus as we would like it to be. I now serve as the director of GIP, and my associate director, Warren, is on the call. And Johannes spoke to this as well. So we offer 4 graduate programs through the GIP office: a Master of Professional Studies, an MSIS, Individualized Studies, and then a couple of graduate certificates. I want to bring this to your attention in this group because what I think is maybe less known on campus is that our MSIS in particular functions similarly to the BGS, the Bachelor of General Studies. It's a program that allows students to pull 2 certificates from across disciplines and put them together into a rigorous graduate program. And I want you all to be aware of this for a number of reasons. One of them is that it can serve as an on-ramp or off-ramp for certain student populations. So many times students will come to us and say, you know, I started my program in the field of X, and that's just not for me. But I don't want to waste all of those credits. Please reach out to GIP when those students, we call them near completers in our office. When you have those students, please reach out to us. We would love to work with those students to see if maybe there is a potential for us to actually earn a graduate credential from Missouri State through one of our interdisciplinary programs. We can also serve as an incubator for your new ideas. As graduate programs are adding, as academic programs add things like graduate certificates, we can then add that certificate as a focus area in our Master of Professional Studies. And through that partnership with us, it allows you to see how popular this certificate is going to be, what the strategic pathway is for a certificate student to complete a graduate degree. And we're also very interested in talking more with all of you about any of your ideas related to stackable pathways into a graduate degree and maybe those micro credentials. And so put GIP on your radar if you haven't heard from us about us before. We would love to be a collaborator with you in any way that makes sense. I promise, Ross, I'm going to leave time for questions. I just have a couple more slides I want to make sure you're all aware of. We do offer a variety of awards here in the Graduate College, one of which that Ross has already referred to. But on the left-hand side, you will see our student awards. On the right-hand side, you'll see our faculty and staff awards. So we offer a Distinguished Thesis Award, a Distinguished Teaching Assistant Award. Both of those winners are then sent on to our Midwestern Association of Graduate Schools for the chance to compete in the regional level. And then we offer outstanding GATA and RA awards, which are selected by Graduate Student Senate. We also offer that Outstanding Graduate Mentor Award, also selected by Graduate Student Senate. I see one of our former winners on the call of this award. And then, as Ross mentioned, through a partnership with AATC, we offer that award for excellence in graduate advising. Please help us spread the word about these awards. We would love to have the problem of too many nominations. So I hope that there is an award here that you did not know about. I hope that you will share the good word with folks in your areas. And then lastly, we do host these 3 events. 3-minute thesis is exactly what it sounds like. Students have 3 minutes to present their research to a lay audience, and they have 1 PowerPoint slide. So it is a difficult competition for students to compete in, but it's always a fascinating one. Our university-wide competition is coming up Friday, November 7th in Glass Hall. The university-wide competition has a panel of community leaders serving as the judges. So I would encourage you to share this with your students, and please come join us for this event if you're open to it, because it's a great networking opportunity as well. And so we're able to award first place, second place, and people's choice. So there's audience participation there. And then there's a great reception afterwards where our students can network with those community leaders. Again, we offer that interdisciplinary research forum every spring. This is a great low stakes way for your graduate students to get practice presenting at a conference right here on campus. So it's a familiar environment, and we award winners for outstanding poster, virtual, and oral presentations. And then new last year, so our 2nd annual Graduate Education Awards reception is coming up this spring. And this is the event where we showcase all of those awards that I just mentioned to you. If you can't tell, we really like acronyms here in the Graduate College. So 3MT, EIDF, and GEAR, please join us for all of those. I know I threw a ton of information at you, but I do want to just see if there are any questions. But I think we'd also just love to hear from you. What are the new things you learned today? What questions are top of mind? Again, thank you for your attention, and I'm going to shut up now and see what you have to say. I'm keeping an eye on chat, Ross, but I don't see anything yet. Any questions at all for us? How do we find out more about the summer research assistantships? Thank you so much for that question. I'm going to stop sharing and pull our link so that I can put that directly into chat for you. There is a website on that that I can share, and it's got detailed information about how to apply. Lisa, you are. Lisa is on the call too. Lisa Taylor is our operations administrator, and she facilitates the administration of those faculty research grants and support systems as well. So if you have specific questions, you can reach directly out to Lisa.
And if the question was more about the summer research assistantships for students that will be
thank you.
coming, then we are currently setting up a planning process for that. Meaning I can tell you already that we will be actively involving graduate students to propose research in conjunction, of course, and asking their advisors to sign off and be participating as advisors of that. This will be something that will be contained for the summer. So these are exclusively graduate college funded assistantships that only happen in the summer. That's at least the current plan. But there will be plenty of announcements. The summer is thankfully a long time away. But we'll have processes ready and we'll bring up anything that we're planning previously. We will have listening sessions to hear if even the process that we propose makes actually sense. So there will be a lot of ways to engage in that process making as well.
Thanks for catching that, Johannes. Sorry for misreading your question, Molly. All right, well, Ross, hearing no other, oh, just kidding. I see, let's see. Oh, this looks like a direct question about 3MT. So I'll respond to Christy offline here. So Ross, I'm going to turn it back over to you. Again, thank you so much for having us. We really appreciated the time.
Yes, thank you. Attendees, thank you all for being here today for this academic advisor forum. Johannes and Carissa, as well as others in the graduate college, thank you for all that you do. Thank you for your presentation today. Again, this session has been recorded, so please help spread the word about the Most State Advising YouTube channel. Everyone, enjoy the rest of your day and good luck with the busy registration season. Thank you.
Thank you all for having us. Take care.